Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
All right. Whoa. Welcome to another show. Hope you're doing well, guys. This is a Trader Coffee Break. If this is the first time you're joining, my name is Jason Graystone, and this is
Akil Stokes.
the one and
also
only.
Excited about that.
The one and only. And this is something we run regularly, and we're trying to do it as consistently as possible. But if you go and look at all the other videos on this channel, if you're just joining us for the first time, there is a ton of great resources. And this is going to be no different. We tend to talk about things that you may not even think you need, or you may not even think that you might come up against as a problem or a hurdle or even something to talk about. So this is no different. We're going to be talking about staying motivated once you're successful. And this was a request that came in by one of our traders. And again, it's something you might think, what do you mean, stay motivated once you're successful? But there's things that you can see and things that you can't see. And depending on where you're at in the journey, you can see or not see different things. You only see them when you get to them. And that journey never ends. You know, no matter how successful you get at anything, there's always going to be a challenge every single step of the way. And I know in trading, you know, you might be thinking, well, why would this even be a problem? So I think the best way to start this is to talk about, once you become successful, some of the things that you really need to stay on top of in order to, or build habits to keep motivated in doing it. Because I was talking the other day to someone after a conversation that I had with Mike about there is a big churn rate in traders on their prop desk. And the reason there's a big churn rate on traders on their prop desk is because from about 19 years old to 25 years old, those types of traders are very money oriented. They've got a lot of time, no overheads, no kids, all that kind of stuff. And they get funded at the prop firm. They've got they're happy to spend all that time at the desk. But then at about 25, 26, they start lacking purpose. And then they have the money and they think, now I've got to go and do something where, you know, that it's me and I'm actually doing something and building something. So a lot of traders fall into this trap of thinking, I just want to escape my job to then just trade forever and that's going to be my life. And what happens is when they actually get that come true, they're in a position where they start, if they don't build these habits and they don't set themselves up correctly, they start to feel guilty that they don't want the things that they thought they wanted. Like I get it all the time when people say, I want to spend more time with my family, and they don't put an actual time on it. And I say, if I granted that to you on Monday morning, you know, would you want to spend every minute with your family? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to spend every minute with anyone. Like, it's not. So what happens is, you start, because you haven't thought about it and really got clear about that, you start feeling guilty that you don't want to be with them. And you're thinking, why am I feeling guilty? I wanted this. I've been telling everyone I want more time. Now I've got the time. I don't want to be. But it's perfectly normal. No one wants to spend every minute with anyone. That's not normal as a human. One of our basic human needs is privacy. So when you do it and you haven't factored it in and really thought about it and built some habits that allow you to maintain balance and maintain motivation to do it, then you're going to come unstuck. So same goes for trading. And I know, Akil, you used to, when you started trading full time, how was it working from home for you? Like all the time, just that's it. Like, how did you find that?
It was tough. It's kind of like what you mentioned. It's kind of the old saying, be careful what you wish for. Like exactly. When we don't have stuff, we want all this stuff. Now we don't actually know if we want this stuff, but we're kind of conditioned to want this stuff because that's what success looks like. And then once we have this stuff, it's like, oh man, I didn't want this stuff, or you didn't realize it, and you can get into trouble. So like working from home was the same way. Like working from home seemed like the dream, right? To
Yeah.
do whatever you want, whenever you want, make your own schedule, work from home, complete freedom. We can wear t-shirts and hoodies. We don't have to dress up. We don't have to, drive and all this fun stuff. And then you actually start working from home and you realize like, man, this isn't as good as I thought. There's no disconnect, right? It's
Yep.
very hard to put yourself in a professional mindset in a professional environment, especially at the beginning, when you're not actually physically leaving the house and going to a building. I know when I first started trading, when I first started investing, I went to an office, and that was amazing for me. Then I realized, hey, I can do this from home. So I started working from home, and I would literally roll right out of my bed to my desk and start trading. And I was treating it like an amateur because there was no disconnect. It was I was lazy. It was still a hobby. So, for me, I actually had this little thing I would do where I'd wake up, I'd put on a shirt and tie, I'd leave the house, I'd drive around the block, park hopefully in the same parking spot, walk back in my house, put the little suit jacket over the chair, and get to work to kind of simulate that professional mindset. But working home is great. But then, like you said, you grow up, you start having kids, and then kids want all of your attention. They don't understand that, hey, I'm working even though I'm home, because it's not traditional, or at least it still isn't traditional, I would say. And then you feel guilty about not spending time with your family, but then you spend time with your family and you're guilty about not spending time on your work. And it's easy to break these habits. And I think, going back to one of the original things you said, success is difficult to achieve. I think it's even harder to maintain, because before we have success, we're young, we're hungry, we're doing all of the things we need to do to make it work. It's very similar to a relationship, right? When you first get into a relationship, you're trying to wow your partner, right? You're keeping the beard trim, you're dressing nicely, you're spraying the fragrance or the cologne. You're trying to always put forth your best foot.
Yep. And
then, like, once you get married or once you become successful, you get a little lazy with certain things because you feel like you no longer have to do them. I'm married already. I no longer have to kind of, swipe deodorant. I can kind of wake up stinky. I can burp in front of it and all this fun stuff. And the problem is, it may be true to a certain extent, but if you let those bad habits creep in and you stop doing some of the good habits that you formed, well, you'll no longer be in that relationship, right? You see the divorce rate is super high. Trading is the same way. You stop doing the things that allowed you to become successful, you'll no longer be successful. And we've seen it time and time again. It goes like this. I remember one of the most heartbreaking stories I heard when I was a younger trader. I think it was about 2 or 3 years in. And there was this lady was at a mastermind meeting. She was successful for, I think, 5 years. I think she turned like a $5,000 account into like a $50,000 account, like crazy stuff. And I'm like, yes. And then she blew it all in a year. And I'm like, how does that happen? But it was a reality check where it's like she stopped doing the things that got her successful in the first place. She fell into bad habits. Those bad habits kind of snowballed as the mental and psychological side took over, and she lost everything she gained, right? She worked so hard for 5 years and lost everything in a fifth of that time. And that was a reality check for me because I was new and young and getting kind of, a little bit cocky and reality check that you got to stay on the gas. You got to keep doing those small things.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think what you said about working from home, I think people think that keeping successful at trading and keeping motivated in trading is going to be just from what they're doing in their trading, but it's actually not. Like what Akil said there, you fall into the danger of creating this environment in your office where everything outside doesn't matter anymore. And it's like, it's this gray, murky thing. And then that causes problems on the outside. And you become this very self-serving type of individual that then you haven't got anything on the outside. And that's a danger. That can happen to people. And then your mind isn't on your trading because your mind is on repairing things on the outside of the door. And man, that affects your trading. So it's really important to have some kind of balance, some kind of routine, and motivations outside of trading that are going to help you stay motivated in trading. So what motivates you to keep trading the same way every single day, Akil?
Yeah, the why is important. Like without the why, you're not going to be motivated. So that why has to be bigger than trading, has to be bigger than money. It has to be about what else you stand for in life, whether it is a legacy, whether it's leaving something for your children, whether it's, using trading. My example was, when I got out of college, when I got out of grad school, I got offered a job, and it was a 9-to-5 job. It was something that I didn't really want to do, but it was a job, so I was going to take it. This is when I was coaching on the side, and I was also in love with trading. And I remember asking the guy, I said, hey, I'd love to take the job, but can I flip the hours around instead of 9-to-5? Can I do I don't mind waking up early. Can I do a 6 to 3? That way I can go coach and do what I really enjoyed loving. And he's like, well, no, you can't do that. And I turned the job down, and I got into trading because of that time flexibility. I always wanted to do stuff where it's I wanted to coach track and field, because I serve a very important role in kind of helping people navigate through life from the years of 17 to 21, those awkward stages. I want to be able to. The other day, I participated in field day at my kids in first grade, my oldest. They had a field day event at the school. So I was out there, doing water play with kids and helping the teachers out. I got to see them do a relay race. The ability to be there instead of being oh man, I got to work because my boss wouldn't let me off. The ability to be there in those small moments, which are very important for children, for parents to be there, in my opinion. And I'm not knocking anyone who can't be there, because I got to understand, you understand, you got to make the money too, just to provide. But if I could have the best of both worlds, if my kid can grow up and be hey, my dad was there for these moments. If there's a skill that I can pass on to him later in life, or even just a business I can pass on to him, those are the whys of trading. So it's become more than just me. It's not just about me making money anymore and being financially free. It's about how can I better my family? How can I, lend time to help others? Those other needs are greater than just the monetary need at this point.
Yeah. I think this is what people need to understand when it comes to motivation. Motivation, you will only get motivation when you're inspired to do something. That's it. You don't get it from, it's not money. It's the utility that money is. Yes. It's what you're going to do with it. And whether you're going to be motivated to lose weight or trade successfully, the motivation will only last as long to the degree that you can see how you're using that benefit your future. And that's it. It's not, you're not going to be motivated and be able to trade very long if you're just focused on what that one win is going to do for you today. You're not going to stay motivated. You're going to be in this rut trying to find motivation. You're going to be watching motivational videos on YouTube and all that stuff. And that's not going to, you see a lot of people get into that, right? And it's because they're really trying to compare themselves to someone else's dream or someone else's goal, and what they are motivated by, they're not motivated by, and they're trying to get hyped up and pepped up to do something that just isn't important to them. So you only get fulfillment from helping people, right? And having a purpose. And we want fulfillment. So the only way that you're going to get that, which then in turn naturally creates motivation, is to have long time horizons and understand what you're going to be doing with it, why you're doing it, what impact that's going to have, how it's going to play into you having more of what's important to you. And that is really what motivation is about. That's really how you're going to be successful at anything, because without that, you're doing it for other people's reasons and not your reasons. And if you're doing it for money and you haven't really decided what the money's for, it's a bit like saying, I want to lose weight, but well, what for? What do you want to lose weight for? How much weight do you want to lose? If you're not really that bothered, you won't do it. So that's my take on it. And I think whether it's trading or anything, to stay motivated, you first have a big vision of why you're doing it, and then you keep, obviously your values are going to change over time, so you keep realigning and saying, is this still important to my big mission? Is this still going to aid my big mission? Is this still helping, and is it contributing to it? And if it's not, or you might tweak it slightly, or you might move off course a little bit and change something. But if it is, then it's just about setting up a routine, because it's a bit like a trade plan, isn't it? It's there's profit over the long term, so you just have to, it's process over outcome. You have to show up every day, and creating habits is how you do that. That's my take on it.
So here's a question for you. So what would you tell the trader? Let's say someone is they've been trading and they're all about the money, right? A lot of traders, including myself, right? I got into trading initially for you want to make money. That's
for the money, yeah.
Don't have something that's a goal because that's the tool that you use to get the other things. But let's say a trader's come in, he or she has been successful, they're making money, but they're at the stage right now where they feel like they're kind of stuck, like they've made money, the money has stopped bringing them happiness. They're trying to figure out, how do I stay motivated? How do I find out what these things are that you're talking about? Is there a way for someone to kind of figure out what is going to motivate them, what their purpose is? Or is that something that just you take some thought, some meditation, and have to figure out on your own?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, if you're trying to achieve a certain return, for instance, because you need that return as a goal to become financially free or maintain a level of semi-passive income, then maybe that's the goal, right? And you say, right, mathematically, I need to do this. Or if it's something, as we said, your reason why you want to do it, and you're kind of, what happens is the closer you get to what you want to do, then you have to readjust and you have to say, okay, well, I need to think a little bit bigger maybe. And then you go back and you say, and you reinforce by saying, answering a question, how will trading benefit and enhance and increase and exaggerate what it is that's most important to me? And you answer the question as many times as possible. And it's been proven that the way that beliefs are created are by literally bringing out subconscious information that isn't there in the space in the first place. So if you answer that question, why is this important to me? How is this going to benefit to me? And you answer it 50 times, 100 times, what you're doing is creating new neural pathways in the brain that create new beliefs. You literally are writing down things that you didn't even see were there. And that is how you shift your priorities and shift your values, because you're telling yourself there's this many reasons as to why it's important that I do this. And I didn't even know there was that many reasons. So sometimes it's just a case of getting a pen and paper and going, right, what do I want to go for? How is this going to benefit me? What's important to me? And how will doing this every single day give me more of it, or make it better, or exaggerate it, or speed it up? Or how will it help me? How will it help my family? How will it help my family's family? And so on and so on and so on. And the more answers you can write down, you'll have this kind of overwhelming feeling that this is like a mindset shift.
Dude, I love that way. I'm like you. I do so much work on like neural pathways and stuff like that. And it's amazing how we can literally
program
ourselves to be whatever we want. And these new pathways, think of them like highways. These are like blazing new roads that led to places you never thought you can go before. And what I like about what you said is, and with the writing down, if you get into a consistent habit of writing it down, what do I want? How am I going to achieve it? What can I do? You're going to notice that there's going to be a period of time where you're writing down the same thing. Mm-hmm. But as those pathways develop, you're going to develop new thoughts. And then one day you're going to write down something a little bit different. And then that little bit different is going to lead to something else different. And then before you know it, if you keep these things, right, and you keep track of them for let's say over like a 5-year period, it's amazing to see what your initial thoughts and goals were compared to where they were at 5 years. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. You're gonna feel ashamed that you were thinking so small.
Yeah, also when you manifest some of those goals, you get and you read them back, it's like, you get goosebumps with that sort of stuff. It's like, wow, I said I was going to do this, I've done it, and so much more. And that is how beliefs are created. So just to kind of give you a real example of how that works, there's going to be, if I told you that ghosts were real, you believed in ghosts, that is your programming in your brain. However, if I told another kid that ghosts aren't real, they believe ghosts aren't real. And you could have two people in their 20s, 30s, that one believes ghosts are real and one doesn't. And that is literally how you program your brain. It is what you feed it. It
sounds like what social media is doing to us right now, right? You're splitting us up into whatever we see on social media, how the algorithms work. It's only feeding us what we already believe, and we're splitting us where we no longer, we won't go down that route.
Absolutely, man.
That's what the social media feed is doing. It's feeding us stuff and making us believe it, and we're buying into it and searching more and more, and we're creating pathways that are new, they may be based off false information, but it's brainwashing people out there.
Yeah. False information or information that is real to someone, but not real to you. And what, as I said the other day, we've become a nation of blind leading the blind. Blind leading the blind. That's what it is. And it's everyone. And we've got this stage to stand up and talk about what we believe in. There's going to be people out there that don't believe what I believe, and that's fine. But just be careful. I believe that being able to synthesize paradoxes and deal with different opinions and form your own opinion from both sides is the most important skill that anyone could possibly learn, especially as we're going into what we're seeing right now, where it's believe this, believe that, believe this, believe that. You know, it's crazy. If you can't take all of that information and go, right, okay, well, I like a little bit of that. I like a little bit of that, but that's not important to me. That is important to me. Here's my synthesis. Here's my opinion. If you can't do that, you're going to have a really hard time. You're going to be pushed around for a very long time, and you're going to be stuck in a rut. So to get motivated at learning any skill, as Boyd just put into the comments, it's about taking pieces of information, understanding that it is in your best interest for where you want to go and what you want to achieve in life, right? I gave the example the other day about learning in an automatic car, right? And it's like, my dad told me that it was better to learn in a manual car, but that was just because it was best for him. I didn't want to learn in a manual car. I can't even stand driving, right? But I learned in a manual car. It took me longer, it cost me more money, and now all the cars are going automatic. So it wasn't the best for me, although it might be. And then I put it on social media, and then TikTok in the comments, it's like, a manual car's much better. You know, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, for you, right? For you it is. And for your future, that would be better, but not for mine. So understand that everyone's, you know, once you can understand what's aligned to you, then you get motivated by going, right, how is this going to help me more? You know, how is this going to serve me and benefit me more by moving me towards more of who I want to be? And that's really it. So whatever it is you do, whether it's trading, losing weight, or some other big goal in business, then that's it. Have a big goal and ask yourself, how is this going to bring out more of that vision? And are the people that I'm listening to, have I taken too much of their medicine, or should I spit some out, basically?
that's Boyd said, he said, do you get motivated by the process of learning a certain skill? And you kind of touched on this, and I don't know about you, like I'm not necessarily motivated by the process of learning a certain skill, but like we talked about earlier, I'm motivated by what learning that specific skill will provide me. Like, I do think training. That
there's two types of people with that though. Like with me, like I'm learning how to make pizzas, right? And I will learn to make pizzas, but I'll have to learn the best. Like I'll have to make them the best that I could possibly make them. Otherwise, I just don't think there's a point. But other people are like, okay, well, yeah, I'll just learn it and I know it. That's great. I'm not like that. I love learning. Like I love learning. So I think there's two types of people.
My wife is, I'm like that with food, right? I do most of the cooking here. So it's like, my wife is just like, let's just throw something together so we can eat it. And I'm like, I'll make a dish like 4 or 5 different times. Cause I'm like, I want to learn how to make it a little bit better. Like exactly. When it comes to food, like I enjoy that process of like, not perfecting, because you can't perfect something like that. It's exactly own, but like perfecting that way. Like I'll try and fail and taste it, and let's do it again next week. Yeah, she's just like, just throw it on the plate. I'm just gonna throw barbecue sauce on it anyway.
Yeah, like, absolutely. I'm exactly the same.
So yeah, and it'll be different depending on everyone has a different thing. Some people like the process of learning how to trade. Some people like the process of coding. Other people just like, just give me the code. It's to each his own. So you gotta find your motivation, what motivates you, and that's all that really matters. No one can ever tell you what motivates you or what should or shouldn't. It's about that feeling you get and then going off of that.
And no one can tell you what good is or the best is either, because it's only going to be what you define as good or the best. That's it. And your absolute best could be rubbish to someone else. And that's why you shouldn't worry about what other people think. You just be on your journey and do as best you can, and do it for your reasons. So I think that's a good way to wrap this up. I think we've been going on for like half an hour, so that's a good session.
Quick half hour, man.
Yeah, that's a good session, man. And if you guys have got any tips you want to share with us for how you stay motivated in whatever it is that you feel lit up by, not necessarily trading, the thing that you're the most dependable on. Like if you're the thing you're most reliable on, how do you stay motivated in that? Let us know, because I'd be interested to hear those in the comments. And that's it. So if you want to hear us talk about anything else trading related on this channel, definitely leave a comment below. And Orsi says, what a great discussion. I agree. It was a good one. And guys, we'll be back next week, I hope, for another session of Coffee Break. So until then, remember, sometimes do less to do more. And enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.